So there's this bizarre story that's going on right now where there's this guy from Wisconsin who took out a $275,000 life insurance and he faked his death. He was married with kids and he faked his death. Now, this led to a very interesting conversation with Chad Ochocinco and Shannon Sharpe about, is $375,000 even a lot? Their conversation was interesting and I want to give you guys some of my comments about it. Now, before I play this video, guys, drop a comment down below and let me know, do you think having $375,000 is enough to live off for the rest of your life?
A Wisconsin man apparently took out a $375,000 life insurance policy, faked his own drowning so he could abandon his family and flee to Europe. Ocho, would you fake your own death?
Absolutely not. I mean, he faked his death, tried to get away from his wife, get away from his kids. For one, I'm not faking my death because I love my kids. I want to be here, you know. I had too much fun with them, but he must have been miserable. He must have been really miserable. You know how bad it has to be as a family man with kids and a wife to fake your death and want to leave and use insurance money?
Yeah, he had to be really, really miserable. The part that I don't understand is, why not just leave? Why you gotta go through this elaborate scheme to just fake your death in order to get $375,000? And now you're just abandoning a family. Now they're gonna go through things all emotionally because of the fact that you're gone. And you are gonna live the rest of your life knowing you abandoned this family and you have $375,000 to live off of. That to me just seems like really, really weird. Now, first of all, $375,000, they're gonna have a pretty interesting conversation about it. I personally feel like it's not enough to just live the rest of your life with $375,000, especially to do what he is doing. The risk of everything he's doing is insane. And if you guys don't know, because I read an article about it, the way he got caught. Now, first of all, they were trying to find him for like 50 days. So for 50 days, they were trying to find him because he said he went to a kayaking trip and he texted his wife saying, hey, I'm coming back home from kayaking, and he never returned. So they did a search for 50 days to try to find him, and they couldn't find him. After a while, the cops got a little suspicious about it. And what they did was they recognized that in the Canada border, he actually used his passport. And they did forensic science within his laptop, and they found that he basically had gotten $375,000 of life insurance and transferred over to a foreign bank. So this guy is really like, I saved my bad thoughts about him to myself because I'm just trying to be nice. But the conversation of the $375,000 went to a whole different level and it got interesting. And that's really the main part of this conversation. Let's check it out.
Like logically think about that. It has to be really bad.
I'm trying to figure out how long he thought 375,000. Well, you gonna get another job or something?
Well, it depends on his lifestyle. It depends on how he lived. You know, 375 could be a fortune to some people, Uncle, especially if you live way below your means or you're not a spender like that.
Well, you got to pay rent. Does he have a place already paid for? Is he gonna get a car?
You got to understand, everybody don't move like that. You feel me? Some people get stressed.
So how you gonna get around? He just gonna walk? I mean, you going to the UK?
What? He in Europe, Uncle. He was moving somewhere in Europe. Like, you don't need much. You get your little moped, you good.
That's the question right there that I want to see what you guys think as well. Obviously, you're hearing Shannon, he's thinking $375,000 to live off is not a thing. And you're hearing Chad saying, yes, it's enough. You can live off $375,000. Now, I will tell you this, because I've been very amazed by this, and my whole thought when it comes to finances changed drastically, right, from growing up to now, when you recognize everyone doesn't live the same lifestyle that people think, right? The whole, the social norms and the path that people follow, which is getting a house, student loans, and having a car payment and going on vacation. Not everyone does that, right? And if you look all over YouTube, you see people right now living the van life. And they live in the van life and try to build financial freedom. And some people, that's the life they live. They build a tiny home somewhere in the woods, or they build their own cabin, and they're happy with that. A lot of people I've seen as well, financial freedom for them, right? Because the Fire and the Fire movement is $375,000. And that's in the US. They decreased the lifestyle so much with $375,000 is a lot. But the problem is, a lot of people, right, they don't fully understand that. They think it's impossible to live that low, right, with that amount of money, with that low of an expense forever. Now, in Europe, it's even better from what I hear. Depends on where he went in Europe, I'm not sure. But in Europe, your money goes even further. So you can live a simple life and survive. Now, it just depends on your lifestyle, right? It seems like he left to live a very simple lifestyle with that amount of money. But for someone who is flashy and they want to live this flashy life and go out shopping and doing all these crazy things in life that they don't need to do, then that might not work, right? $375,000 is not that much money to just retire off of, but it just highly depends on your lifestyle. You guys let me know what you think. Do you really think $375,000, right, for the rest of your life is going to be enough? I know some people out there are going to say, well, you put some money into investing and then you could try to build it. And I get it, you could do that, but the problem is then you're taking away the money that you can have now to spend. And it's also obviously a risk with investing. It could be a down market, you'll lose all that money. It could be an up market. But still, $375,000 does not seem like enough, but let's continue watching.
Okay, but what you gonna eat? Where you gonna live?
Some of the people don't even make 375,000 in their lifetime. I'm sure he was gonna be straight now. Come on now.
Yeah, somebody that works a minimum wage job. Yeah, if you work at a fast food chain, probably maybe not.
But I'm
just saying. I don't know how old. How old was he, Ash?
He looked like he about in
Ocho, let's just say for the sake of argument, he spends $20,000 a year. He is in his mid-40s. He spends $20,000 a year.
Yeah.
In 20 years, that's gone. That's just if he just spends $20,000.
Yeah.
Can you live off $20,000 a year?
Who?
Ochocinco.
Shit, yeah. I make that bitch stretch. I can make it. Listen, I can stretch $100.
You cannot.
You want to bet?
You cannot.
Did you hear what I just said?
You cannot live off $20,000 a year, Ocho. Stop it.
I can stretch $100 for a month. How you gonna tell me?
Now that's interesting. But once again, once you open your mind and you see how people live in Europe, things are a lot cheaper. So it depends on where he lives in Europe. $20,000 a year could take you really far. But I like what Chad is saying, right? There's a lot of people in currently who are not even make that amount of money in their whole lifetime and they're surviving. Okay? There are people who are actually surviving off that $375,000. You know, that's why I'm not trying to be tone deaf, because there's a lot of people out there who are living in poverty and they are making it, they're getting by, but they're getting by with just the basic necessities and they're just getting by. And $375,000 to them can change their life, right? But of course, Shannon is a multi-millionaire. It's not to knock him, because I mean, it is what it is. He's a multi-millionaire, he flies private jets. They have these type of conversations all the time. He talks about his lifestyle, but he makes a lot. Right? So he makes a lot, so he knows that, you know, so not that he knows that his perception of it all is it's impossible to live off 20, right? It really is impossible to live off 20, but you can. It will be hard, it will be difficult, but you can, because once again, I've seen so many people out there say that and they truly enjoy that lifestyle. They don't want all the luxurious stuff in life. They don't want to do all this traveling. They don't want none of that. They don't need to have Netflix. They don't need all this type of entertainment by getting the internet and streaming and stuff like that. They don't need that. Some people are just completely okay with just, like I said, living off grid, right? Eating off the land. So it's an interesting conversation because, you know, a lot of people think 375 is not enough. And I think it can be for certain people. Now, for me, myself, it won't be enough because I'm a little bougie. I like traveling, and there's things in my life that I want. I want to pass down some money to my kids, help them with college, and things like that, where 375 is not enough. But it's definitely a good start. But to just have that for the rest of your life and retire and live off of, I don't know. If there's anyone watching this video from Europe or anyone who lived in Europe, this might be an interesting conversation for you guys, because you might think $375,000 is a lot. Now, me being an American, I know it's difficult, but you might think that, you know, in Europe, that might be a huge amount of money.